It is a Wednesday edition of Red Sox Now presented by FanArch right here on YouTube. I'm your host, Mike Antonellis, and please follow me on all of my socials. At the Radio Mike is where you can find me. We continue to climb on some of those secondary, I don't want to say secondary social medias, but for me as an older age, the TikTok and Instagram, appreciate all the love. And make sure to subscribe, comment, and I'm sure you will today. Another tough loss for the Red Sox, 2 in a row. Scored enough runs to win. I wake up this morning and then everybody's tweeting about Anthony and Meyer need to be in the club. I don't know. 9 runs is good enough for me to win games. I think we're getting a little irrational with that. I'm the first to tell you I think those two are going to be stars, but to put everything on them and think that if they just get called up now, it's going to change everything. I don't think it will, and there's no guarantee. Young players, that's a tough thing if you hand the keys and say, and all of the alternatives I've heard from people on what to do, if you're going to put those two in the lineup, you're just going to not play Story and Raphael anymore. And then what if that doesn't work out? You can't make irrational decisions. And we'll get into more of this. The Red Sox should have more wins. They don't. This is a game that you have to win. You're losing a lot of games like this. You know, the bads are bad, and they have to change something. They really do. I feel like there are days with pitching, it's good. I think it depends who's on the mound. I do not like the approach of Brian Bayo. Way too many sliders. These teams know what you're doing by now. You've already given up your hand by saying you're not going to throw a lot of fastballs. And you can hear Will and Lou and Will and Mike Monaco and Dave, they're practically saying it. I mean, teams are sitting on your secondary pitches, and you continue to throw them in spots, big spots. I've never seen a team give up this many home runs on breaking balls and changeups when you throw 97. I mean, I just think some of the stuff, and we'll get into that. But the game was 10-9. The Red Sox hit 3 home runs. Bregman, Campbell hit one, a big one. David Hamilton, you guys have been on David Hamilton. He doesn't play. This is what happens when a young player doesn't play. He played 2 games in a row, and look what he did. I mean, the expectations, some of you guys are really too hard on some of these younger players. Lower third was good last night. 6, 7, 8, 9. They were fine. Devers was 0 for 6, but you scored 9 runs. But the Bayo, I know he's got a low ERA, but way too many sliders for me. And teams are just sitting on it. Same with Whitlock and Weissert, these sweepers. There has to be a change, I think, in the philosophy. It's just, to me, at times, it's just painful to watch. And, I don't think it's working. And again, we'll get into situational hitting, pitching, and base running. I think at times, it does seem the Red Sox are really kind of like this at times. I know they're 500, but I feel like I see them, the way they played in Kansas City, situational hitting, pitching, and then it's really up and down right now, and I think that's why you're at 500. Duran getting thrown at second base. They continue to do things on the bases that just should not happen. It really shouldn't. You should not be thrown out. The reason that play happened last night, Riley Green is playing. That's a huge. You got. Listen. I mean, who am I to say? But I know. A couple things about this game from watching it for so long. That is one of the biggest ballparks on the planet to left field. Riley Green is playing very deep because of Devers. You have to see that as a base runner. And he's flying in. He had no chance catching that baseball. No chance. And once a outfielder does this, who catches a ball like this? The dekes are the worst thing outfielders can do. I've had a player tell me as soon as a player does that in the outfield, he knows it's not going to get caught. But you can't, those things cannot happen in the big leagues at this point. I mean, Duran's been playing in the big leagues enough, and they still make a lot of mistakes like that. That's the thing that I see, is that their mistakes are glaring, and they play at this really high ceiling, and I still like their pitching, but in some situations it's not good. Way too many home runs, and off-speed counts or off-speed pitches to me. And I just think these teams really know what you're doing. Lower third of the order. Actually, let's go 6, 7, 8, 9. Actually, could throw Abreu in there as well. But, Sogard, Narvaez, Hamilton, and Rafaela all had nice games last night. And again, I don't like to harp on the lineup because they have scored enough runs to win for me. Would Anthony and Meyer improve their lineup? Yes, but it would not improve them defensively because if you're going to put Anthony in the outfield, then you're taking Rafaela out, and that is, to me, is not your best outfield. And there's no guarantees that Anthony will come up in here and hit. And I get the irrational decisions, but, I'm sure 2 weeks ago you guys didn't want Narvaez playing, and now everyone wants him playing every day. Rafaela's been one of your better hitters. But for me, it's still situations. I just there's a lot of situational stuff that has not improved, and this club is still good to me. 7 of 22 losses, 4+ runs. If I look at the Tigers, I haven't checked this out. Maybe I'll do this for tomorrow. I would be willing to bet that they have a lot of their wins by scoring 4 more runs. Do you think that's a better overall team than you? Do you think that lineup is better than you? Torkelson, Sweeney, Dingler, Young. Baez batting ninth is having a good year, but do you think that's a glaringly better lineup? They're hitting about 260. They struck out 13 times last night, but they can pitch, man. And they have a bullpen that is lights out. But I'd be willing to bet they have a bunch of wins scoring 3 runs or more. You have 7 of 22 losses scoring 4 more runs. And you can tell me all you want. Well, 4 runs is enough to win games. Then you won't be in the playoffs. It's pretty simple. You cannot score 5 runs every single game in the big leagues. No one's doing that. But if you cannot win games by scoring 4 runs, then you'll be home. I'd be willing to go look this up from the World Series winners the last few years. I bet they have a ton of wins when they score 4 runs, when the run total is less than 6. So you could say, well, if they had a better lineup, yeah. But eventually you'll face good arms, and it won't matter who's in your lineup. But that, to me, is a huge stat. If you win 3 of those games, just 3, you're 25-19, and 2, you're 24-20. Does that sound a lot better than 500? It's always kind of been the staple of this club. And it's, the bullpen situationally, I think, is really good and then really bad. There's been no middle. And I still think they give up way too many home runs on secondary pitches. You've already told people we're not throwing fastballs, and they talked about it last night. Detroit's average at 306 against fastballs. Do the analytics factor in that teams that now know you're doing that will adjust? You can see hitters sitting off-speed pitches. Look at the home runs allowed by Whitlock and Weissert. Those guys are right on those breaking balls. Down and in. Front door, sweeper, and slider down. How many down pitches have we seen? Look, the one that Vladdy hit off Slayton. Balls. They're hitting balls below the zone out. Big league hitters are pretty good. Big league, game planners are pretty good. So that's where I think this team still is a good club, regardless of all this. They are just, I think, in certain situations, it's this. They've given up way too many home runs out of the bullpen, and they're going to have to correct some things. But the approach needs to change. Bayo needs to pitch like Dobbins. He doesn't. I don't think Whitlock is as aggressive anymore. And you need those guys. So this is how baseball will work. The Red Sox will win this final game against Skubal. And that's how baseball works. They'll have Dobbins on the mound. I love how he approaches. Watch how he pitches. He goes right after hitters. Brian Bayo, 35% of his pitches are out of the zone. That is insane to me. Insane. You cannot do that. All right, another edition. Fired up today on Wednesday. Red Sox Now, presented by Fan Arch. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and follow me on all my social media channels. And enjoy your Wednesday. Go Sox.